Shout out to Down the Rabbit Hole News for this. Let's get it.
It's not too out of the way, you figured, until you found a rental car with airport. It basically put that out there that there was like a huge argument that happened, and then TMZ this morning reported that their throats had been slit. The Hollywood Reporter noted that Nick didn't say much at the dinner honoring the film. Now hold up, let me go back a little bit because there's some quotes directly from the family. The couple's complicated relationship with their son Nick was previously explored in a movie Rob worked with on his son, being Charlie, the one that we talked about yesterday. Nick's past struggles with addictions and homelessness inspired the 2015 film, which Rob directed. Nick co-wrote the script with a friend from rehab named Matt Ellison and Kari Ellis played the father figure, and Nick Robinson portrayed the son. So this being Charlie was like a movie about Nick and Rob. Okay, this was like basically based on true life events of addiction and whatnot, and the things that they went through as a family. It further goes, when Nick would tell us that it wasn't working for him, we wouldn't listen. Rob recalled in an interview with the LA Times in 2015. I was actually able to pull that archived interview as well, about offering his son an apology after their ups and downs. This is 2015. We were desperate, and because the people had diplomas on their walls during the joint interview, we were so influenced by these people, they would tell us he's a liar, that he was trying to manipulate us, and we believed them. Oh my God. The Hollywood
Hmm.
Reporter that Nick didn't say much at the dinner honoring his film. He did mention that he chose to get clean because he was sick of it. I come from a nice family. I'm not supposed to be out there on the streets and homeless shelters doing all these effing things. He explained about the autobiographical project. Y'all, I can't read. In a post-screening Q&A, Rob noted that the family didn't set out for it to be cathartic or for it to be therapeutic, but it turned out to be that. When asked by an attendee about the relationship now, Nick did not respond. Rob, meanwhile, said they were there were disagreements, and at times it was really rough working on the film together while addressing the real life issues that inspired being Charlie. Yeah, straight out of that 2015 interview. It's just really sad. So did the dad get all the credit for the work and Nick did? I don't know, Randover. The thing is that they went kind of radio silent in terms of like you don't see Nick after a while. You don't see him in many pictures. I mean, you see, Rob is doing interviews and whatnot. He's kind of keeping afloat, but I wonder after the movie was done, did he go back to his addictions? Were there more struggles? What happened? Where was he living? It sounds like he was living in the streets and whatnot. You said, I doubt money. It seems to be unplanned. Holiday stress. I'm feeling that's I'm feeling the son couldn't keep up with expectations, the struggles of the symptoms as well as that agitation to the event. I agree. I agree. He was something must have happened. I mean, sometimes people in addiction they fall into psychosis as well, right? Drug-induced psychosis that could also be a thing. There's so much. Um, Stabbing is, like I said, it's a very specific kind of crime. Very passionate, very, anger driven and whatnot. So there's so much that could be said about this situation. It further goes, sometimes it would get overwhelming for me. Nick admitted at the time, I wasn't sure I wanted to do this. Rob went on to say that his relationship with Nick changed for the better, adding, to be honest, by the time we got to the point of making the movie, our relationship had gotten so much closer. So let me go ahead and pull that 2015 interview because that's what we were going to go live. Well, we're live now until this news broke, but I wanted to see if there's anything else. Um, okay, the New York Times also just posted, and they're doing live updates, so we'll look into that. But Nick, 2015, it was a 2015 LA Times interview with his family, and literally, this is like everybody as a whole. Um, okay, oh thank God I was able to find it. This one, which is, hopefully it doesn't, I think I'm already signed up. this is 2015. Okay, really sad situation. But let me give you guys, before we go into this interview, I want to go a little bit to what we have so far, live updates with the New York Times. Since I already have a subscription, I figured we can go there as well. Welcome everybody. Welcome everybody. Make sure you guys are hitting the like button now. Give me 1 second while I take a drink of my coffee. 1 second. My goodness, sorry y'all. I had to drink my coffee. I haven't even had one drink. All right, and I got my water bottle here. Welcome everybody. So live updates that we have so far as we're covering this situation. Here's the latest. This was 5 minutes ago. So Son of Director Rob Reiner and Michelle Singer Reiner has been arrested after the couple was found dead in their Los Angeles home, according to online jail records viewed on Monday. Let's see. I believe there is see what the LAPD is saying. Maybe we can pull this up right now. I do wonder if, okay, here's a question that I have. If he's been struggling with substances, was this his first arrest? Have there been other arrests? Oh yes, okay. I think we have the jail record now. Hold up. Yeah, we have a booking number and the jail record that's being reported without a crystal ball has it. Okay, just so people are aware. Booking number, arrest record, everything is in there. Felony level. He's 230 pounds. That is his weight. He's 6'3", and the booking number is there. Okay. Arrested date. He was arrested yesterday, y'all. They say that the arrest date was yesterday, just so people are aware. Why do they... Okay, look at this. This is interesting. LAPD gang activity, agency description. Now, I don't know if that's like agency description as in like that's just the name of the agency, but it's not really gang related, right? I don't think so. So online booking information for Nick indicates that he was arrested around 9:15 p.m. and booked. Oh, so he was arrested last night. Booked at 5:03 p.m. You know what? He was probably already arrested by the time we were live yesterday. Yeah, considering that he's a celebrity kid, there are probably run-ins with the cops that there are records for. That's what I was wondering. I'm like, this can't be his first arrest. I mean, if it's drug related, look into his history a little bit more, we could probably find that out for sure. You said if Rob had a hard time with his father, the cycle could very well have been continued. That's right. It does not go away. You said that presser was a lie. I know, Obsidian. Why did they lie on it to us? They're saying that he was arrested at 9:15 last night. Right? But this can't be his first arrest. I'm sure that look, if it's substance, I mean, unfortunately, I have family members that have struggled with substance abuse and whatnot, and often there's historical arrests, right? Sometimes, drug-related and whatnot, if that is the case. So I do wonder what his record looks like, and I'm sure we could probably pull it. I know the LAPD is going to do what the LAPD is going to do, all right? We knew yesterday because people leaked it out and said that they were looking at Nick. And what did the LAPD do? Not confirm anything, which, okay, whatever. Okay? That's why they were so, calm.
Typical
when they were just spreading
LAPD.
information about, well, we're looking at things, we're interviewing, and in the media, you got five or, a bunch of reporters. Hey, is this person at large? Should we be here? What's going on? It's crazy. You said, yeah, they said that they had no arrest yesterday, right? Well, apparently they did last night. He was booked he was arrested at 9:15 and booked at 5:04, which means that a lot of us wouldn't have saw this record yesterday. You said KTSM 9 Rabbit shows that Nick, it looked to be outside of the home last night, May says. Okay, I'll definitely check that out. Y'all know that law enforcement lies. I mean, when don't they ever lie? But okay. Now hold up. The agency that arrested and is listed as LA gang activity. That's kind of concerning. What does that mean? The booking information does not note the crime connected to the
Wait a
felony.
damn minute.
LAPD has not
You tell me he was arrested by the gang unit? That's a little weird. I'm just saying.
commented on the arrest or whether it's connected to the death. At this time, there's no other confirmed details to report. TMZ reported that Rob and Michelle died from an apparent stab wound. Apparently, their throats were slit. Okay, just so people are
Oh
aware. Very
Lord.
graphic. Lacerations from a knife.
Slit their throats? The fuck, bro? Damn.
All right. Page 6 reported that Rob and Michelle were found by their daughter, Rory. This is sad. After an apparent argument with the family. So sad. Like, what escalated it? It's just so much. Yeah, it's a gruesome crime. Give me 1 second, guys. I got somebody at my door. 1 sec.
Mm. I thought they were just stabbed. I didn't know their throats were slit. Damn.
All right, sorry. Um, let's see. You said. Sorry, I'm going. That's why I'm asking. Did he do this to initiate himself into something? Because the home, with the gut, because it's labeled LAPD gang activity. Now, sometimes I feel like they do stuff like that on purpose too, to kind of like, they're not going to think that this is what it is and maybe deceive people, but I do wonder what this is all about. But also note that in LAPD, we talked about this yesterday, there was a merger in departments. So robbery and homicide are one department now. So this could very well be just a labeling thing and nothing else other than that. Yeah, several failed rehabs and whatnot. Just so people are aware. He was in the throes. I don't know, man. First of all, rehab is expensive as heck, right? Like, expensive. They don't make rehab cheap. People, I just, if you have a family member that has the resources and sources to put somebody in rehab, that's amazing. But, I mean, rehab is expensive. So I do wonder, 18 rehabs is a lot. It really is. We further have that Rob, okay, so hold up. Let me go to the New York Times. Give me 1 second, because that's the latest and whatnot update. What else? Hold up. I have so many tabs open, so I gotta, like, close some of these guys. I feel so, but, like, seeing Billy Crystal crying on the street, just so sad. It's just so sad to see him just kind of, like, walking and crying. I mean, he clearly was very close, Y'all remember Harry, what is it? When Harry met Sally, I mean, that's like a classic right there. Misery is a classic right there. Maybe he was institutionalized, could be very well. He seemed deeply disturbed. He seemed like, you know, when somebody is under the throes or, has been doing well, and they look like they're healthy, I think it takes some time for the body to recover from all of that substance and whatnot. So I always kind of struggle with, is it just somebody coming back from normal from all that, or what? That's right. Addiction affects all walks of life, rich or poor. All the money in the world can't make you sober or happy. I would guess they probably pay for many stints in rehab. Yeah, and that's the thing, is it's a real thing, and addiction doesn't discriminate. But I don't want to. Here's the deal: we don't have enough yet. Whether his motive was he wanted money and he wasn't getting it, and he had been homeless, or what happened exactly, what argument escalated this. Again, knowing that this was somebody, at least Rob was somebody that had explored the topic of addiction through a movie with his own son and being open about it. Like, you don't have that kind of opportunity, you know what I mean, in many ways, or resources. I'm muted, y'all. I feel like a rookie. You said, to me, Billy Crystal was the lead in. Yes, that's right. He was. Like someone else mentioned, makes me think of the Menendez all over. I don't know if, Menendez was very, depending on who you talk to, because you have the people that say, well, the Menendez brothers, and I believe the Menendez brothers were actually abused. However, there's the other argument that what other opportunities did they have besides the whole thing that happened in the staging? And so you have people that have different ends of that argument. I'm kind of like in the middle because of the investigation that came after on the dad and Menudo and everything, and reading the affidavit and stuff like that. So I can see both sides of that argument. This to me is giving, I don't know if Menendez is the right one, if you know what I mean. I feel like there's more, unless, we don't know. Maybe there'll be more that'll be revealed later on. You think wealth and premeditation. Gotcha. What would be the motive? Would it be just that he was living, I'm thinking living in the streets and, he needed substance or something. It further goes. Okay, so they were found dead, and according to jail records viewed Monday, now apparently they were already arrested. Nick was already arrested as of last night, apparently. This is why the LAPD was like, everything's fine, y'all need to calm down. The couple were found stabbed to death on Sunday in apparent homicide, according to police. The daughter's the one that found them. Nick did openly talk about his struggles in various interviews, but then he was radio silent. You don't see him anymore after 2016. There isn't a lot of information out there about Nick. Did he go to rehab? What happened after that? Where did he go after that? And Nick 32, the son of the Hollywood director Rob and Michelle, he was arrested late Sunday. So he was arrested last night after his parents were found dead, okay? It further goes, when I was out there, I could have died, he told People magazine in 2016, speaking about being homeless. It's all luck. You roll the dice and you hope you make it. Apparently, he had homelessness in 2016, which, all that rehab led to the movie being Charlie and whatnot, but I don't think it was enough. You said, what kind of a rugs was this guy on? Who knows? I don't think that's being disclosed yet. You said, we don't know if Nick was in a will either. Oh, question mark. Maybe he got upset. Just, we don't know what, for all we know, it could have been drug-induced psychosis. People don't ever talk about how drugs can push you to that point too. It's more common than anything. Yeah, I could believe it. Definitely. It's not giving me this case is not giving me Menendez. I personally don't feel like it is as well, but you can make this case comparable to others. Like somebody was talking about Phil Hartman, even though Phil Hartman was his partner at the time who shot him, right? Very sad situation as well. And the kids were in the home too when that happened. No. Let's see. You said, I'm gonna go up a little bit more. Yeah, it never gave me that. So that's why I'm like, I don't know what, but I think people are just making that comparison. There's so many dynamics that go into long-term addictions and the way it impacts the individual and the family. It's too soon to say what led up to this. I agree. Yeah, I think it's too soon to even say premeditation. We just don't know, y'all, at all. You said that the son was living with them. Phoenix Rising, was he homeless or was he living with them? That's interesting. Let me see if I can find some information. One second. Who was Nick living with at the time of murders of Rob and Michelle? Hold up. Let's see what other information we could pull. All we know is that he's in custody so far. And yesterday I was listening a little bit to the dispatch, and nothing gave that anybody had been arrested or apprehended or anything like that. It just sounded like there was a lot of activity in that area. Let me see if I can find some information on that. What relevant articles we have so far. I don't see anything yet. Okay. Was he homeless? I heard that he was homeless. I didn't think he was living with anybody. So what we know so far about the living situation before this incident is that he had periods of drug addiction and homelessness in his youth and early adulthood. And he described living in the streets, which he did talk about that in various interviews that he did while promoting Being Charlie, okay? He's had lived in various states struggling with addictions. Now, in earlier interviews in 2015, he had been home for a really long time in Los Angeles and had gotten acclimated back to being in LA and being around my family. Somebody in my chat somebody came into my chat yesterday and basically said that they had gone to, now this allegedly, I don't know if this is true. Please note that. I don't know if this is true, okay? This is alleged. But somebody came into my, thank you, Nurse Janice. I'm gonna see if I can pull the screenshot because somebody sent it to me. Apparently, it's been said, this person alleges that they went to a boarding school with Nick. So I don't know if Nick was in a boarding school. We don't have anything, like I don't even hear him discussing or disclosing that, quite honestly. Nothing, but apparently somebody, I mean, we had over 4,000 plus people in the chat, you know, at one point, okay? So it was a lot of people yesterday when we were breaking the news. But somebody had said in my chat that he was in a boarding school. You saw that? I don't know how I missed that comment. Yeah, somebody came in there and they said, and I quote, I was in a boarding school with Nick. He was my roommate for 6 months. And then the person says the movie is highly embellished. So was it possible that, excuse me, Nick, what did his life look like before even 2016? That's what I want to know. That would have been ages ago, right? Absolutely. You said I was hanging out with my ex-boyfriend last night. You heard a rant? Oh, really? Hey, Tinkle. Let me see a little bit up on the comments. Only positive is Romy isn't alone having another brother. It's just this terrible, right? It really is. And apparently they were really, he was labeled as dangerous. He was very dangerous. Yes, and that's the other thing too people were saying, observation of Hanukkah. You're right. Because, yes, you're right. Thank you so much, Phoenix Rises. I did read that and looked into that a little bit more. You said it was probably a way to try to understand each other and reconnect and set up Nick for his next chapter of life. This is difficult. Did you see that comment as well? Hey, Andressa, how are you? AJ Matthews, you saw that comment as well. I was like, somebody sent it to me. There was just so many people yesterday. We literally had, at one point, like 4,000 people in the chat, and it was going. So I couldn't even pay attention to everything. But somebody said it. So there was a person in my chat who said that they were apparently in boarding school with him. I don't see anything that says that he was in boarding school, but it wouldn't surprise me if that's the case. Yeah, boarding school's like juvenile hall. Well, I was in juvenile hall. I wouldn't say that it was boarding school per se. I was a juvie kid, but yeah, to me, boarding school sounds like, when I think of boarding school, I think of somebody who pays to basically set somebody up, or a child specifically, to, I don't know, some level of reformation or not even scare straight, but just like specific type of targeted, geared towards a specific kind of behavior that you want to do. You know what I mean? You said, I've seen a few good men maybe, but effed through half of it. I'm ever watching that movie, it's going to go on. So I basically never watched them all the way through. Yeah, it's a good movie. Thank you so much. Thank you, Warren. Appreciate it. Did the comment say boarding school or that they shared a room? Let me read it again. It was an interesting comment and I put it on my community wall. They said, I was in boarding school with Nick. He was my roommate for 6 months. That's what the person said. The movie is highly embellished. So I don't know if they continue to know Nick after boarding school, that they would know about the movie, or what. They were roommates. They shared a room for 6 months. And what I mean is like nobody boarding school can also be a choice. It doesn't always have to be mandatory, right? Like a parent can send a child to boarding school, but juvie hall, it tends to be you're there for mandated reasons and whatnot. That is what's being reported, American Warrior, that their throats were slit, which then makes me wonder, did they fight back or what, right? There was an argument that happened, and Hanukkah observation was yesterday. Yeah, both, both boarding school, and they were roommates as well. They were roommates as well. And that's okay, Ken Moses. We are never, ever, ever going to agree on any kind of political agenda. We're not meant to agree. You know what I mean? But to me, it's like I don't even want to focus on that because nobody deserves to be, hurt or done this way, regardless of what you're. This is why I don't even pay focus on that, even though people, there's a lot of people in my comments that want to focus on that. I don't. At the end of the day, depending on what you believe, I don't think there's a political kind of heaven, a left or a right heaven. I don't know. I cannot do that. So for me, I stay focused on what really matters. And a life was taken, 2 lives were taken, right? And it's just so unfortunate that it happened this way. And to know that it potentially might have happened, he still needs to face a judge. Your own child, you just can't get over that. How do you get over that? That's a hard thing, right? When you read stories of it's called Parasite. I think that's what we talked about, where adult child kills both of their parents. That's Parasite. You said, hold up. Thank you, Rabbit. Too much. Yeah, I'm done with that. I don't even want to get into that. You said we could do our focus on the 60-minute for the coming Rabbit. Oh my God, I was so upset, y'all. So we were doing the 60-minute interview. I cannot. But I figured out what happened, and I don't always have to exit out of that. So that's a good thing. Okay, let me tell you guys more details about the living situation. So before the incident, we knew that he had lived in the streets, drug addiction and whatnot. In the interviews earlier years, he said that about 2015, he had been home for a really long time in Los Angeles, had gotten acclimated back to being in LA and being around my family, suggesting he was living in the Los Angeles area and close to family. But it's not being reported yet, at least. I don't think we have anything verified yet, and I'm looking. We don't have any verified reports that Nick was living with the family, or that he was residing with the parents. And it sounds like the siblings, there's another house that's near the area that they have their own kind of
Good
area over
morning,
there.
Craig. Good morning.
At this point, we don't have anything that would say that. My biggest question that I have is, what was his prior arrest? Because if it's addiction, I have family members in addiction, so I feel like I could speak to this and have seen this before, right? There's usually a pattern of arrests and behaviors prior to a big incident. So let me see if I can pull any information that I can find. Okay, 1 second, y'all.
Damn, it's cold.
1 second. Any prior arrests? Or I'm sure somebody would have pulled this by now, right? Like you would think people would be on top of this already, because I'm pretty sure we would have known this by now. We don't have anything. Not one arrest. Not one arrest, but I don't know. I have a hard time believing that. They have not disclosed any prior charges or anything like that, or anything.
Well, there's no prior arrests at all?
News sources do not report any earlier incidents of Nick being arrested before December 2025 in connection to his parents' death. Most
Damn.
important,
Okay.
his past focuses on his struggles with addiction recovery and not a criminal record. I don't know how. Maybe this is just me assuming, and that's fine. I can assume and make an ass out of myself and me, right? Um, I'm wondering if he's never been arrested before. This was literally just like a one situation thing, you know? Hold up, y'all.
But what made him allegedly do this? Is my question.
I was so upset when the stream was cut off. I know I was really upset too. You don't get over losing your loved ones. I lost my husband and my daughter. They were killed in a motorcycle accident. I'm so sorry, America's Warrior. I'm really sorry to hear that. I can't see any records of sitting. I have somebody else checking for me too. I don't think we pulled anything yet. Because this would be one of those situations where it's like, well, do we have any prior arrests? This is like a really? But if somebody's struggling with yeah, like Foxy, how does that happen? I'm telling you, I mean, I think for me, it's like maybe because I lived experience, not for me personally, but, family members, lived experience. When you have family members with addiction, it's kind of hard not to have multiple rehabs without an arrest record, You said, come on, because they have money, because they have money. Come on, Rabbit, we know there are two justice systems for the haves and have-nots. Kelly Mack, thank you. Here's my question to you, Kelly Mack. Even if that's the case, you still have situations where we see celebrity kids with arrest records. Hell, let's look at Lindsay Lohan. Lindsay Lohan, yeah, she's out there. She partied out a lot, and I think that's somebody that I remember because it's like millennial my time. She went to court. She went to. I mean, even her dad is currently facing time for like DV and whatnot. So I have to kind of wonder, what what extra would they have done to conceal any records if he was in this, substance? But you're right. I don't disagree with you. I do believe that there's two justice systems. When you have money, you can make things go away. Absolutely. You can make things go away. You can make things delay. That's one thing about money. You could definitely make things go away. What? Really? Hold up. Oh my. Come on. Why? She died? Wait, well, she died on the 7th. Are you talking about the same person? Why are they just not reporting it? Oh, this is so weird. Amanda Bynes is another example.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Kelly Mack, you're right. He's a bigger star. He's a bigger legacy. NCIS Los Angeles actress Rachel Carpani dies unexpectedly at the age of 45. This just was reported about an hour ago.
Damn.
Okay? But
It's
it
like
says here that she died on
everybody's
the 7th.
dying.
So I don't, I'm like, what?
The hell's
I don't
going
know. Google's
on?
being weird. You know how they, like, sometimes the death dates get a little bit confused? I'm not making this up. It says her death date is the 7th, but this is being reported as of an hour or 3 hours ago. Yeah, she's from Australia. Wow. Anyways, a side note, just so people are aware. Yeah, Nick had been in various rehabs. I'm sorry, there's just like, all this week, I mean, are these people just like, all right, everybody's gonna die before the end of the year, that's what we gonna do? Yeah, I don't really I've heard of her, I just don't watch a lot of NCIS. I don't. Hey, Belen. So the first time offender can have their records sealed, or expunged, right? First time offenders, 18 rehabs. I would agree, Kelly Mack. Hollywood royalty, I would agree, 1,000%. I definitely don't disagree with you there. But it's a lot. And you know what? Honestly, unless I wouldn't have, to be honest, I mean, I've never watched Charlie. I might now and maybe do a review on it just because I'm kind of curious. I've never watched it before, but it does kind of make you wonder. Well, are these like, I wouldn't know who his kids were. Honestly, I think that I just see them as regular people. Was was Nick recognized by other people in Hollywood as being Rob's son? Like, was he around, or if you see Billy Ray Cyrus and Miley Cyrus, you're gonna know who Billy Ray Cyrus is. A lot of people do because they're more out there, just like you would know Miley Cyrus. But for me, I might know Rob, but I might not know his kids because they don't really, you know, they're not really out there in the limelight like that. You said I think he lived in the other states too. Yes, he did. He disclosed that. Excuse me. Often I'll try through the holidays. Yeah, there's just like so much. There's so much going on. Hollywood is weird. The industry is cooked. I have families who work within those circles. It's just a weird circle in general. Yes, he died on the same day that Abraham Quintanilla died. We talked about that too. The Mask, Pulp Fiction. I mean, y'all name all those classics, but for me, I remember him a lot. Of course, Pulp Fiction, but The Mask was like, I was like, oh my God, Peter's so good looking because he had like the color eyes, very good looking in The Mask. Anyways, but he died the same day that Abraham Quintanilla died, actually. And Abraham Quintanilla being Selena's dad. We've had a lot of deaths just this past week. It's almost like everybody got to die before the new year. I don't know, man. I'm just, kind of sad.
Yeah.
Let me get into this article. Let me also see if we have anything else being reported yet, because everything's still being investigated. I wanted to see if we have a press conference. Hold up. I would hope that the LAPD has a press conference set up. If anybody knows, let me know in the chat. I don't see anything set up yet. We do have the report.
Is now in custody after the murders of the actor and director and his wife, Michelle. Sources tell ABC News the two were found stabbed to death in their Los Angeles home overnight. Now officials are expected to give an update on the investigation later today. Our Alex Stone has the latest on that. We're going to get to Alex in a bit. But first, I want to go back to Brad Garrett. Brad, for your reaction here, we're just learning right now, breaking news, that Nick Reiner is in custody. What do you make of that?
So, do adult children kill their parents? Of course they do. We don't know that is the case here. But it's one thing you have to look at. Now, who was last at the house? Does Rob Reiner have security? Does he have CCTV? Are there phone records that place his son at the house? And what was their relationship? Who knows what's accurate?
She don't even know she's muted.
I'm muted, sorry. They responded around 3:30 to 3:38, okay, in the afternoon, which means
Whoa,
that's
whoa, whoa,
not
whoa,
around the
whoa,
time
whoa,
that they
whoa,
died,
wait a
right?
minute.
That's what.
Wait a minute, I gotta pause this. 3:30 in the afternoon their time, which 3:30 in the afternoon their time would be between 6:30 and 7 o'clock our time. But see, the news didn't come out. Correct me if I'm wrong, Cree Cree, if you're still here. Till about 10:30 your time, and between 11:30 to midnight my time. So if they pass away at 7:30 East Coast time, and we didn't hear nothing about till almost midnight, why did it take so long? Something ain't right. Let's get back into down the rabbit hole news.
Time that they died, right? That's what time the police responded. They could have died prior to that. Keep that in mind. Police responded between 3:30 to 3:38. That's what we know. But they could have died before that, and it was daytime when all of this happened. All right? Yeah, I'm not muted anymore. I was. So just so people are aware. Now I just pulled the article from Deadline that basically says that Rob, son of Nick, arrested and booked by police. Okay, we know this, 4 million bail. Now, this was 35 minutes ago. I believe we have some more
Okay,
updated
Bill's at
information.
4 million.
So, what we have so far, police have been investigating the crime throughout the night, but other than confirming that they have been interviewing family members, had few details to provide in an evening press conference Sunday. They had no details to provide. They said nothing. Okay? And didn't even confirm the victims' names. They said they were going to leave that up to the ME. That's what they said they were going to do. Now, according to the Los Angeles Sheriff's police records, Nick was booked at about 5:04 a.m. PT this morning. Bail was set at $4 million. He was arrested last night. Bail was set at $4 million. Okay. The Los Angeles Police Department had no comment on the arrest, but we'll
Go
be providing
figure.
an update on the investigation later this morning. So we're going to keep our eyes peeled for oppressor and whatnot. Shout out to everybody. Oh my God, Wim. Shout out to you, Wim. Wim. Just wanted to shout you out. Thank you for stopping by. I haven't seen you in a minute. I hope you're doing well and that you're keeping healthy and safe in this holiday season. Shout out to you. 36 months, y'all. Drop some hearts for Wim. Thank you, Wimmy. Shout out to you. Good to see you, Wim. You said, hold up. Let's further go into this article while I'm reading it. So Nick, 32, is one of Rob and Michelle's 3 children. He's the middle child. Keep in mind, we learned that last night that he's the middle child, just so people are aware. Hold up. Y'all be losing my marker every time. I have so many tabs open. Give me 1 second. Let me see. Where'd you go? Where's the article? Give me 1 second, y'all. Too many. Okay, here it is. So he is one of 3 children, and he co-wrote Being Charlie with his dad and just opened about his struggles. Now, what we have so far is that the authorities describe this as a family incident. That's an interesting quote. The authorities are
Interesting choice of
describing this as a
words.
family incident.
Very
Los
interesting
Angeles
choice
Fire
of
Department
words.
received an urgent call of an incident at the home located on the 200 block of South Chatbourne Avenue at about 3:38 p.m. All right, so that means that's when they attended the scene. That doesn't mean when they died. Authorities described the situation as a family incident. Well-placed sources told Deadline that authorities were summoned by one of the children believed to be the daughter, Romy, who lives in the neighborhood. Last night, the family confirmed the death, saying it is with profound sorrow that we announce the tragic passing of Michelle and Rob Reiner. We are heartbroken by this sudden loss. We asked for privacy during this unbelievably difficult time. Reiner, who rose to fame playing Archie Bunker's son-in-law on All in the Family, and of course we know just the Hollywood credits that he has. This man has done a lot. This does not tell me whether he lived with his dad. Hold up. I'm going to see if I can go back. Try to see what direct article. Okay, it might be this one. Hold up. Yeah. So I found it. Authorities described the situation as a family incident.
Family incident, my
Sources told
answer
Deadline
is
that
a
the
damn
authorities were
murder.
summoned by one of the children who believed to be daughter, who lives in the neighborhood. That's who lives in the neighborhood. Now, that's all it says. It doesn't say anything else about whether they live there. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if maybe that was his place of residence, for the time being. Maybe that's what it was. What do you guys think? I was wondering if Nick was living there. I'm between being homeless and whatnot. They're calling it a family incident. You said, my friend volunteered at the LA morgue for community service. What a gal. Ooh. Shout out to everybody that works at the LA morgue, man. I mean, working in the morgue is no cakewalk. So shout out to everybody that does that kind of work. Y'all are very much praised. I just couldn't do it, okay? You said it was the start of our big holiday. Okay. This is what they called it, an incident. It was Hanukkah too, so keep that in mind. You heard that Nick moved back a couple days. So then what started this? What started all of this? That's the question. You said Nick had been living in the guest house for the past couple months. Let me see if I can find the direct article. Is it Malibu? That's a cute name. Nick living in the guest house of the parents' guest house. I have yet to hear a source, but if we can find it, it'd be amazing. Yeah, we found it. Here it is. Y'all are right. Y'all are right. I just want to confirm it before I say it. He was struggling. Okay, this is, I don't even know what source this is. Make sure, but they take cookies. This is I've never heard of Wayoni. What? Hold up. Girl, is it one of those like click on me articles? Give me 1 second, because if it's one of those click on me articles, then I can't tell you if it's a good source or not, because they get paid by the click. Let me see. I think maybe that's where everybody's getting their information.
Mm-hmm.
I can believe that he was living with parents, you know, at that time. This is really sad. But I see where people are saying that he was living with parents at the time, or he had moved back in there. He said so this is that New York Times article. Now this is while they were promoting that movie. Okay, I'm gonna try to get more information. I want to see if they're going to have a press conference or not. That's what I'm keeping an eye out. Now, let me shout out some people, guys. I don't want to get too behind. Let me shout out some people. First of all, Chantel, thank you so much for being a member for 6 months. Shout out to you. And also for this $2 super sticker. You said there's more than TMZ commenting on this arrest. Absolutely. Cash has been a member for 37 months. Thank you so much. Well, it is one louder. Thank you so much, Cash. Shout out to you, and I hope you're doing well. Natasha, member for 8 months. Chantel, thank you. Yes, I did read the super chat. Thank you. Wim, again, congratulations. You and Cash, you guys are amazing. Thank you. Tinkle Tits, thank you so much. LAPD is corrupt. I don't trust them for changing a tire. They wouldn't know how to change a tire. I don't believe them. I do not blame you for not believing them. Nancy, thank you for becoming a new member. And Nancy also gifted 10 memberships. Nancy, thank you for gifting. Really appreciate the support of the channel. Y'all, the holiday season, y'all been gifted. Put some hearts in the chat if you received a gift. Brian Rambles, thank you for gifting. Also, Brian gifted, guys. Make sure you guys are putting hearts in the chat if you received a gift from Brian. Thank you. Mama Jenny G, thank you so much again for a long time. I feel like it's been longer than 11 months. I'm pretty sure you've been around longer than that, but thank you for supporting me. I really appreciate it. Thank you, love. Sister lived across the street, and someone knew something was happening, and they called 911. They must have heard something, right? Yes, he is arrested. They did get him. He's at a $4 million bail. You know, I highly doubt that they didn't want to help him, because it's literally 18. I'm hearing 18 or more rehabs. There's a lot of rehabs that this young guy did. You know, he's only 33 years old, guys. So he was in the throes of addictions for a good portion of his life. I mean, for since 2016. Did I hear that correctly? Yeah, because it was before the movie. So he had done a lot of rehab. I mean, he even, Rob talked about the fact that they stopped listening to the people with the degrees on the wall, you know? Keep that in mind. That's right. Guilty until proven innocent. No. That's not how it works, but you know, we also have to look at what the information is being put out there. Oh my God, Wim just gifted 20 memberships. Please put some hearts in the chat. Thank you, Wim. Thank you if you've been gifted, y'all. Put some hearts in the chat. Thank you, Wim. I did not get a strike. I promise. I did not. They just didn't like me playing their little thing, which is fine. It didn't affect my channel. I promise. But thank you for checking. I appreciate you. It's heavy addiction. It was a lot of, it sounds like somebody said in the chat it was like 16 or 18 rehabs. Now let me see. I want to see if we're gonna have a press conference or not. I gotta check Facebook, because I feel like Facebook is somewhere that everybody goes to for press conference. And thank you for those that are coming in. Thank you to everybody. Make sure y'all are hitting the like button. Okay, let's go.
The two of them even did a movie years ago about his son's addiction and the issue that has played. I could name off a number of homicides where adult children that had addiction problems harmed their parents. It doesn't happen a lot, but it does happen. So all of those things I just mentioned, can LAPD put the son at this location? I'm really curious to know who notified emergency services and or the police.
Yeah.
Does the son have anything to do with that? And so
that is the question that I have too. Like, how did they know to walk into the, like, How does she know I better walk into the property, like something's going on? How did the daughter know any of this? Okay. Oh, perfect. Okay, give me 1 second. I'm gonna go pull some information up. Give me 1 sec. One second, guys.
It's like every other case. Can you put the son at the scene? We don't know how they died, but all that's important to see if the son is a viable suspect.
And this all happened at their home in Los Angeles. Our Trevor Alt is there right now. Trevor, what are you learning?
Well, this arrest does not necessarily come as a surprise based on the rumors and some of the reports that we have been hearing, but the LAPD
I'm checking for a press conference right now.
When they addressed the media, Diane. So this is certainly a very big development that Nick Reiner is in custody. Now, the LAPD has not clarified what charges he may be facing, or even that it is 100% certain tied to what appears to be a pretty grisly double murder at the home here that's just on the left. We watched this morning as the medical examiner showed up here on the scene. They have since cleared it. They had several blocks all around that were blocked off while that investigation was ongoing. They've since removed all of that caution tape, so we could go right up to the gate of Rob Reiner's home, and you can see signs for a security system here. Now, how that played out in terms of how the authorities were notified of this, we're not 100% sure. We know that LAPD officers arrived here around 3:30 in the afternoon yesterday, and they were arriving because they were conducting a death investigation. Now, we've been waiting on some more details here. We know that the Associated Press had reported that a source with the LAPD had said that officers were questioning a family member. It is highly possible that that was Nick Reiner, who has now been charged here. But of course, there are still many unanswered questions on a really devastating story for a lot of people. Rob Reiner, of course, one of the most highly regarded directors all around the world, in so many iconic films. Michelle Singer, a photographer in her own right. They were extremely well loved around the world for their work, and also here in the neighborhood here in Brentwood, known to frequently have gatherings, and other members of their family lived in the homes in the neighborhood as well. So certainly a devastating twist. This was something where we were waiting on police to give us some information. I expect now we will probably get some clarity on those charges for Nick Reiner later today. It's not 100% clear when the LAPD will address the media, but they had been planning on an update already. So I do think we will get some details.
Okay, we're going to get an update
And
soon, guys.
Trevor, we're hearing now there's a $4 million bond in his case. I want to pull a little bit more on the community. You talked about how they are beloved there. I understand his daughter lives right across the street with her kids. They were known to throw a lot of parties. How are people there reacting?
Well, from what we've seen, I mean, this is a neighborhood that a lot of celebrities live here. And of course, a lot of celebrities who have worked directly with Rob Reiner, Diane. And so among them, we know yesterday, after the authorities were already on the scene, Larry David showed up here, Billy Crystal showed up here, and one of our reporters from our local affiliate, KABC, said it looked like Billy Crystal was devastated, almost as if he was on the verge of tears. Of course, Billy Crystal and Rob Reiner worked together on one of their most beloved films, When Harry Met Sally. I would imagine you are going to continue to see an outpouring of devastation from people, not just here in Brentwood, but people who had worked with Rob Reiner going back decades. I mean, this person who's been famous since the 1970s, so more than 50 years. And of course, the people of Brentwood, it is certainly an upper-class community. These are extremely nice homes. There are very prominent security system logos outside of basically every driveway here. It's not necessarily a neighborhood that would say you might be covering a double murder, which probably makes it all the more shocking for people. We continue to see people with patrol vehicles for security systems, not even law enforcement, just security workers that are patrolling this neighborhood here too. And so for this to happen in such a neighborhood is especially shocking. But really any kind of double murder like this, especially when it does appear that perhaps the son of the victims may be in custody and responsible for these double murders. Now, we don't know that 100% for sure, but this is shocking top to bottom.
It sure is. Brad, what comes next in this investigation?
So, what has the son said? Was the son involved in the 911 call? I'll tell you, Diane, that's not uncommon for adult children who kill their parents to turn around and infect themselves to 911. So we'll see if that is there. Has he said, the son, has he said anything about the issues with his parents, and maybe even has given them a statement? I mean,
We're waiting on the press conference, guys.
The bond is so high at $4 million. So I think that's where this case is going in that regard. But going back to your question, what do they have in addition to maybe a statement from the son, to the TikTok of everything that went on at this location? Where did the knife? It's been reported that there was a knife involved. I don't know if that's true, but let's just say it's true. Where did it come from? Was it one from the house? Was it one that the suspect brought? Again, trying to put, if it's the son, you put him in the house. Now, I'm sure he's been in the house a number of times. But the point being, was he in the house when this occurred? It's all of those things tying a suspect through motive, through a weapon, through the location, through cell phones, etc. All of that, LAPD and the district attorney in Los Angeles are pulling together as we speak.
Brad Garrett, Trevor Alt, thank you both.
Okay, we have, we're waiting on a presser. Fox is reporting it's the presser, but that's actually the FBI press conference. I'm not going to the FBI press conference. I'm waiting for Fox to start the presser. So if we have a presser, we're going to go there right now as soon as it starts, okay?
FBI.
We're still waiting to... They're outside of his home. That girl looks irritated. She must be like... Why is there music playing? That's a neighbor. I was very...
Yeah, that's weird. Why is there music playing? That's weird as
Music
hell.
playing outside, y'all.
That's weird.
Hold up. Okay, what is this here? We're waiting, we're waiting. Nothing yet.
CBS
We're waiting.
7:30 on this Monday after a weekend of shocking violence all over the world, really, including the apparent homicide of Hollywood icon Rob Reiner and his wife Michelle, their home in Los Angeles. A lot of people are still reeling from this news. There is still so much we have to say that we do not know about their deaths, but there's certainly a lot that we can learn about their lives and how they lived their lives by talking to those who knew them well. Joining us now is actor and TV host Jerry O'Connell. Jerry, thank you so much for joining us. I know that you worked with him back in the day. I'm curious. I did not know.
Wow, Jerry O'Connell.
I was just saying I recently saw them at a friend's birthday party, but I know you really knew the Reiners. Tell me what you thought when you first heard the news. I still can't believe it.
Yeah, it's shock. I mean,
My goodness.
The whole weekend seemed completely surreal, Gail. But this one was really shocking, and how the news sort of trickled out. That it started off saying that there were two deceased people at an address matching Rob's, and of course, I'm very close with the guys I was in Stand By Me with, Will Wheaton and Corey Feldman, and I called our other boss, Rob's partner. Oh, there's a photo of Rob and I right there.
Yes.
I called Rob's partner at Castle Rock and said, I'm so sorry to call you. And he said, we didn't have news. We said, I think it's them. The ages match. They only described them as two people at a certain age. And just really surreal, and still in shock, to be honest. It's just still in shock, Gil.
Yeah, Stand By Me was one of the classics. So you worked with him back in the day. You said he changed you as an actor. What does this mean to you? Tell us about how you're remembering him.
It's so funny. I'm here on the West Coast. It's very early here.
Yeah.
So I woke up. This is the first sort of like morning I'm waking up, and when I wake up, I sort of like try to get my thoughts together.
Yo, I'm muted. Just so you guys are aware, we have the Associated Press that's outside of the home. I'm keeping an eye because I think that this is where they're going to have the press conference. But once it gets started, we're going to head over there. The Associated Press is the one standing outside of the house, just so people are aware. So
Yeah,
once that
Associated
press
Press is a
we're
good
going
one.
to move right over there right now. We're still waiting to hear on, when they get started. We have not heard anything yet. I'm keeping an eye out on news sources as we speak.
And, I don't mean this as any offense to my parents who are still with us and breathing the cold in New York right now, my mom and dad. Rob was like a father to me. He was like a father to me. I don't even, it's just surreal, Gail. It really is. I worked with him when I was 11, and at that point in my life, I wasn't like getting in trouble criminally, but I was always getting in trouble for speaking out loud in class and like not being able to keep my mouth shut. And my mother would always say, "Sit on your hands and shut up. Just sit on your hands and shut up." Teachers would always, I'd get in trouble with teachers. And I got to that set of Stand By Me, and I remember I ad-libbed a scene one day early on in shooting, and he was like, "Cut, Jerry." And I thought, oh boy, here we go. Why didn't I sit on my hands and shut up? And he went, "Hey, Jerry, keep going, man. That's what I'm talking about right there. Go, more." And it really, I'm not making a joke, but I know my house is dark. I have everything I have is because of Rob Reiner.
Wow.
Everything I have.
Yeah.
Everything I have.
Wow.
It's just a sad, shocking day.
Yeah, it really is. And Jerry, we will celebrate who he was outside of film, but it's just hard not to look at his resume and just be impressed by what he is able to contribute to the movie industry. Why was he such a unique talent? Because it seemed like everything he touched was gold. It became a classic.
It's funny.
Okay.
I have children who are.
Yes. I saw what Donald Trump said right now. I see it. And you know what?
What the hell did that bastard say?
It's just not the time for that. Okay? It is not the time to, just because somebody didn't support your campaign or anything like that, it is not the time
Please,
for that kind
this
of behavior.
shitheaded
You know what I mean?
bastard.
Because at the end of the day, none of that matters, honestly. None of that matters. I'll be very honest with you. I don't care who the hell y'all vote for, it does not matter. And I understand we're seeing that everybody's talking about this tweet from the president and how he was so against me. I do not care about that. I don't care. It's not about Trump right now. But I refuse to even feed into that, y'all. We have to stop. We have to stop. Because life and death, that's what it is, right? It's so sad. I don't want that negativity. I don't want that. Sorry. I don't agree with it. I don't want it. That's how much I don't agree with it. I don't even want to listen to it. Okay? May God, if y'all believe in God, let God decide what all of this is. Honestly, it's too much. It's too much.
I know one is very interested in acting and all that stuff. And, I have potentially a Nepo baby. Rob was a Nepo baby. His son was a huge, his father was a huge comedy star. But Rob did the work. He, on All in the Family, they did, you'll have the number, over maybe close to 200 episodes, maybe more, maybe less. And he did the work.
Yeah.
And I can tell you, as someone who worked with him, it was someone who had done the work, and he had so much experience by the time he was directing Stand By Me that he really, I was talking to the other guys, Roman and Will Wheaton, about it last night. He would just feed us lines and lines that weren't written, the ad-lib lines. He would.
Yeah, you met, hold up, I'm sorry, Mars says I met Jerry O'Connell a few times before the LA Chargers football game. He's such a nice guy. I heard he's a really nice guy, actually. I've heard really good things about Jerry O'Connell, actually.
And that was just from hundreds of hours of television, thousands of hours working there. The guy did the work. He just had so much experience.
And was a great human being too.
He really
Did
was.
the work.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God. He
Oh,
was
man.
such a
Jerry, thank
lovely
you.
human.
Thank you for waking up with us this
Yes.
morning and speaking on who he was and what he meant to you.
Okay,
Bye, guys.
Thank you, Jerry.
so we have other reports happening as well. Let me see what's going on with the Associated Press. They don't have police. LAPD is not out there yet, but I have a feeling that that's where they're going to do the press conference. Once we find out, we're going to definitely head over there.
At their Brentwood home.
That's right. Mario Ramirez is live in Brentwood with what we know so far about the police investigation and the details in this story. Mario?
Yeah, that's right. We're just outside the home here on Chadbourne Avenue, and just a short time ago, we did learn that the couple's 32-year-old son, Nick Reiner, is in custody, being held on $4 million bail as we're waiting for new details from the LAPD here in this Brentwood neighborhood. Now, take a look. Somber moments here as we saw the county coroner's crews removing the two bodies here from the home by, again, LA County Medical Examiner crews after that shocking discovery. Now, we had police, fire crews, and investigators. They were flooding the street here. They eventually cleared the scene after about 12 hours. Now, we can tell you that Rob Reiner, a household name in Hollywood for more than 5 decades, was found inside with his wife, Michelle. Authorities say LA fire paramedics were initially called to the home around 3:30 Sunday afternoon for a medical emergency, and when they arrived, they found the two inside. Both were pronounced dead on the scene, and TMZ reporting that the couple suffered injuries consistent with a knife, also reporting exclusive details, gruesome details, that the couple had their throats slit. We, again, are waiting for confirmation on some of those details from the LAPD, but it's been very emotional out here, I will say, here in the neighborhood. We just saw as a few residents were walking by the home here, by the front gates, hugging, embracing, consoling each other after this shocking news. For now, that's the latest here in Brentwood. I'm Mario Ramirez. We'll send it back to you in the studio.
Definitely shocking and tragic, and a lot of people just hearing the news, can't really fathom what's happening here. And friends and family members, of course, of Rob Reiner had so much love for him and all the wonderful movies he helped create.
Yeah, beloved movies. Haley Winslow joins us live from Hollywood now with reaction to the death. Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, this is so awful. And, it's a little bit strange that we're right on the foreground. In the background, you can see the Hollywood sign. We're on the Hollywood Walk of Fame right now in the 6400 block, which is where Carl Reiner's star is. He got it in 1999, and he actually
did,
is
Crispy.
right next to his father's star, Carl Reiner, of course, a legendary comedian and director. They're the only two father and son stars next to each other on the Walk of Fame. You can see some flowers here on Rob's star and some candles. I'm sure this place will be absolutely flooded later on today.
It is.
Rob, of course, going on to become one of the most successful directors of all time. He was born in the Bronx and moved to LA at 13. He went to Beverly Hills High School.
I gotta pause it for a second. Even though it's almost noon here, LA time, I think it's just getting to be about 9 in the morning, LA time. It's noon here, and 9 o'clock in the morning in LA.
And then studied film at UCLA. SAG-AFTRA current president Sean Astin called Reiner one of the most successful and significant figures in the history of film and television. Of course, we all know the classics, When Harry Met Sally, The Princess Bride, and then his first big movie that he directed, Spinal Tap, in the mid-'80s, and then his last film that he just directed was the sequel, so kind of bookends as a director. Then, of course, he went on to do Stand By Me, written by Stephen King, A Few Good Men, and Misery. He gained fame as a kid playing Meathead.
Wait a minute, he was the
in All in
director of
Family.
A Few Good
And
Men?
celebrities are
I
just,
didn't
of
know
course,
that.
pouring out their love and prayers to the family. Stephen King writing, I'm horrified and saddened by the death of Rob Reiner and Michelle, a political ally and brilliant filmmaker. Rest in peace, Rob. You always stood by me. Eric Idle, they've been friends for half a century. He just talked to him last night. He said on X, Rob Reiner was a lovely man. I spoke to him last night for over an hour. I always enjoyed his company. I met him at his dad's in 1975. He was telling me about filming at Stonehenge and his thoughts for the future. This is so awful. I shall miss him. A clever, talented, and very thoughtful man. So awful. And then Princess Bride, Carrie Elwes says no words with two empty director chairs. Of course, Carrie was the lead in The Princess Bride, the one that melted all of the girls' hearts. But, and his wife, of course, they met on the set of When Harry Met Sally. She was a photographer, did a little bit of acting as well. And their meeting actually inspired the Rob to change the ending to a happy one. So because of his budding romance, and this was his second wife.
I didn't know
Rob
that.
had 4 kids, 3 of them with Michelle. They've been married 35 years. Of course, this is just extremely tragic. And the other thing that I just wanted to mention was all the charity work that they did. I mean, they were huge advocates for child education, and that's something that they're a legacy that they're definitely leaving behind.
Okay.
Reporting live here on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, I'm Haley Winslow, Fox 11 News. Back to you guys.
Okay.
Haley, thank you so much for all of that. And of course, we're trying to wrap our...
So you guys are aware, so I'm keeping an eye out. They say that we're, hold on. They say that they're gonna have a press conference, but it says Fox. It says Fox, and they're using it. I'll show y'all what I'm talking about. They're using his photos, but this is not that press conference. We're waiting to see if there's gonna be an actual press conference here. Now, the Associated Press is outside of the home, so I'm keeping an eye there, but we don't have, let me close this chat. We don't have anybody, we don't have any updates yet, okay? Just so people are aware. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna see if we can find any more information.
Yeah, this is going to be an ongoing thing. I can see that now.
We're waiting to see if we're gonna have a press conference or what's gonna happen here.
Back with a Fox News alert. Governor Gavin Newsom confirming that Hollywood icon, director Rob Reiner, and his wife Michelle are dead. Newsom saying, quote, Jen and I are...
Guys, if anybody in the chat hears about a press conference or if you get a link or something, let me know, please and thank you. But I'm waiting on that as well.
heartbroken by the tragic loss of Rob Reiner and Michelle Singer Reiner. He made California a better place through his good works. Rob will be remembered for his and for his extraordinary contribution to humanity. But the LAPD revealing little information about their investigation so far. They did confirm, though, their robbery homicide division would be overseeing the case. Former homicide detective Brian Foley joins me now. Brian, why are they being so tight-lipped?
Yeah.
Well, as a homicide detective, you
Yeah,
want
it's about
very little
behavior.
information getting out there as possible, unless you want it to get out there. We'll talk about that with Providence, when you don't want too much information getting out there. So they're going to be very tight-lipped. This is not an active scene in there's an active danger there. So now this becomes a highly forensic scene. And what the detectives, I can tell you, are doing right now are securing search warrants. They need a search warrant to search a victim's house. This is a stabbing, Todd. And what do I always say? Stabbing is a very intimate and emotional crime. And almost always the victim is known to the suspect. However, this is a very highly public and outspoken person. So that kind of eliminates that. But you hope two things. One, that the suspect has revealed themselves through hate messaging to the victim in the past, and his security people will know it, and that the scene becomes now the main point of evidence. This is a highly forensic scene. You're going to have maybe one of the best homicide divisions and crime scene processing in the world on that scene, processing it. When there is a stabbing, you hope that there was a struggle and that there's transferred DNA. What do I mean? The victim's suspect.
Lojo, he's being held on a $4 million bond, just so people are aware. Do you need any help watching somewhere else, Robert? No, I'm good. Thank you, Crispy. I got eyes everywhere right now. I'm waiting for an update on the press conference. It sounds like it's gonna happen and everything. Thank you guys, and shout out to everybody. Thank you all for keeping it cute in the chat. I really do appreciate it. I know this is tough and everything, but for me, it's like we gotta get through it and we gotta push through and do what we gotta do. I'm not here to tell you the in-betweens. We just want to know the facts of what's happening, and this is a horrific crime, regardless of whatever walk of life you're coming through. That's kind of where I stand. I think for me, that's the most important part, right? Let's get the facts of what actually happened so that we can get the facts going and everybody knows what's happening, okay?
Hair, the suspect's skin, you look under the victim's fingernails and you hope that there's DNA evidence there.
Why did the Because when I was in law school, the one thing I remember is if there's an active crime scene and you can see that there was a stabbing in plain sight, you don't need a search warrant. Why here?
You don't need a search warrant immediately to see if there's a suspect still in the place. But once you know that the scene is safe, there's no suspects in there, you have evidence of the crime, that the crime happened there into that residence. You don't know what you're going to find there. Maybe something that'll get somebody else in trouble. So that's search. Why not obtain the search warrant and move forward as best you can? This is a murder investigation. You can't afford to make any mistakes. The detectives will work with the prosecutors to make sure no mistakes are made there. There's going to be video. This is a person of means that is going to have a security system on a street that is going to have security systems with people with means. So I like the solvability factors that are coming into this, that are going to come into this case, but I don't expect the detectives to be putting that information out there unless they want us, the public, to know it.
I'm glad you mentioned video, because let's go to Brown. The shooting there at Brown University, the person of interest that they had, that they didn't necessarily broadcast to the world, but people found out who this individual was. That guy was released. It seems like this is the only camera video footage we have. This is a tremendously large university. How is that possible?
Oh, that's the university shooting. I was like, what is that? Hold up.
As a homicide detective.
1 second while we move to something else real quick.
You think this is a place that's going to have a lot of video?
The press is outside. That guy's loud. Let me see what's going on. Why is everybody taking pictures of what? It must be family members and whatnot. Yeah, we haven't got an update. We need an official press conference. We don't have a press conference. The Fox press conference, that's not the real press conference for this. They're talking about an FBI situation. Nothing to do with this.
Why is the FBI being brought into it?
I see it here too, and I was telling you guys about it. That's not the real press conference. We're waiting for the LAPD.
Why is the FBI getting brought in? There's something that they're not telling us here.
Yeah, this is it's been an intense weekend, guys. Like, weekend, as we're finding more information out.
The man who did security for the neighborhood and for the Reiner family, he had nothing but kind things to say about the couple. And he also knew. Can you guys hear that? It was very obvious Nick had some troubles. He never expected it to be violent. Nick Reiner's now being held on $4 million.
Good morning, 18. Good afternoon. My bad.
Okay, I'm pulling more information out. Hold up, guys. The AP press is out there, but no updates yet. We just know that he's been arrested. That's it.
With us on this Monday morning, I'm Julie Grant, and this is Court TV Live. I want to take you to Hollywood now. We'll continue following that breaking news. The son of famed director Rob Reiner and his wife Michelle is now under arrest. It is official. Nick Reiner is being held on $4 million bond. The Reiner family confirming the deaths of Rob and Michelle through statements. And now we have confirmed that Nick Reiner has been arrested and is being held on $4 million. He is suspected of the deaths of his parents, of stabbing them to death. This is aerial footage. I'm looking at this as you are. This just coming in to our newsroom. Area footage of the Reiner estate. Beautiful home.
$4 million bail.
That they shared in the Brentwood neighborhood of Los Angeles. You can see the lights up around the home. We have our team en route as we're speaking to Los Angeles to provide you with reporting throughout the day on the ground. Rob Reiner, 78 years old, his wife Michelle, a producer and videographer, 68 years old, and their son Nick is being held on $4 million bail.
Can you guys hear it okay? Because I can hear it on my end. I'm hearing that people are having, this is the video. Y'all hear it low? I don't hear it low. The audio grade is here. Perfect. You had no notifications. I'm not surprised at all. Thank you. Shout out to everybody. So I'm keeping an eye out to figure out if we're going to have a press conference or not. There's a lot of media outside of the house, so I highly doubt, given how much of this is like,
Yeah,
high
cause
profile, I don't doubt
CNN's
that they
out
would
there.
not have a press conference at this point. Thank you. The audio is good. Okay, perfect. So I'm waiting to see. That's why I've been waiting to
Yeah,
figure out, are we gonna have a press
same
conference or
place
not?
O.J.
I'm checking
Simpson
all
was
sources right now.
when his wife
The
got
conference
took
was low,
out.
Rabbit. Oh yeah. Thank you. That was because they were talking on a different side, but there's a lot of media outside the home. Just so people are aware, okay? Let's keep going with this.
Arrested in this double homicide. Police say they were stabbed to death in their home and found on Sunday afternoon around 3:30 Pacific time is when the call came in to first responders. Finding this beloved Hollywood couple deceased in their home, killed at the hands of someone else. Was it their son? That is the question. He certainly has raised suspicions of police, and they obviously have enough probable cause to make his arrest. Let's bring in our law enforcement analyst, Sonny Slaughter. Sonny, you've been with us through the hour. We've seen the progression. We were getting word that he was being questioned. Then we were hearing the word custody thrown around. Now it is official, arrested, and bail has been set.
Okay.
The accusation here.
Just so people are aware, Jim McDonald, the chief of the Los Angeles Police Department, said that the coroner has officially identified the two people killed in the Reiners home as Rob and Michelle. So they have officially identified them. Remember yesterday that was the issue? They couldn't identify them. Well, now they have, just so people are aware. And thank you, Sylvia, for this link. That's what we have so far. We're waiting to see what other updates we have and whatnot. Okay. Let's see what else I can give you. Everybody's giving their condolences. Everybody around the world is giving condolences, which is amazing.
Being that he took the lives of his own mother and father. Sonny, your reaction, please.
Oh, Julie, it's breathtaking that this is now confirmed that he is not in custody. He is currently under arrest, and that the bail amount is $4 million. I want to say how painful this is as a parent and as a person just watching from the outside, but understanding these experiences. I also want to remind the public that oftentimes when we have children, as individuals and those that help, the community help raise, who have troubles, mental health and drug abuse and criminal activity, oftentimes parents can be shamed if they do not react in the way that others want them to. People think that because they are your children, that you should just kind of stay the course. And that...
When you pay your rent with Built, you earn valuable points every month.
Oh, I did not mean to do that. Let's see if the AP has anything. Hold on. Okay, never mind. They still trying to set up. Let me go back to where I was.
That we've been sharing for you. And what I'm seeing on the...
Just so people are aware, there's not a lot of pictures out there of, recent pictures of Nick. I mean, the last ones that we have are from 2016, 2015, when they were doing the Being Charlie pressers. That's it. You don't see a lot of him. I asked everybody, go look. You won't see it. I couldn't find anything recent. Rabbit, the person said to be Nick outside of the home turned out to be the assistant of Rob. Page 6 covered what he had to say. It begins, Lowell, I know you're busy. Okay, if you get a Lowell, I'll get, okay, let me go check page 6 right now and see what we pull. I'm just checking to see if we're going to have a press conference or not, because that would be amazing if we did, as there's ongoing coverage at this point. There's a lot of press outside the home, so at some point I think there's going to be something.
Sheriff's Department's information sheet is that the arrest technically happened yesterday on the 14th, and that he was booked on the 15th, so it could happen. My guess is that in the wee hours, of the night, the change happened in the booking, because we know it was in the afternoon that the call came in, so he was picked up on Sunday and then lodged this morning. Right around 7 o'clock is when I see this information hitting the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Inmate Information Center. They don't have the specific charges, but what we can glean from the facts we know, investigators, are investigating this as a double homicide. We know this is a felony that he's lodged on. We know the LAPD's gang unit is investigating this. Not saying that he's part of a gang, not saying that. I'm just saying that's who was called out to work this case. And we're waiting to get the specifics on the charges, and this is just as bad as it gets. Sonny, also so close to the holidays, this happening. I mean, this is a tragedy any time of year. Nobody wants this to happen, yet also this time of year, when we're extra sentimental, you see the holiday lights around the house as well. It's chilling, isn't it, my friend?
It really, really is. It's heartbreaking because anytime around the holidays when there's a death, when there's a murder, it is a constant reminder every single year. I also wanted to go back to what you said about the gang unit. That would make sense. I'm the former co-chair of the National Opioid Caucus under Health and Human Services. And the gang unit, because if he was involved in potential drug use and abuse and the homelessness, that might be the unit that would have the most information about where, if all of this information is true, and I want to be clear about that, where he got his drugs from, what he was involved in, but it doesn't mean that he was necessarily involved in a gang. But it does have the similar threads of the investigative processes for looking.
He's saying the same thing we were saying, but I don't know if that's just a division thing, because this booking information says gang related type of situation. I don't know if that's it, but again, we don't know. Okay, it has, people are speculating. I don't think so, but okay.
Apprehension, potential drug use, abuse, and known associates or anything like that. Because remember, he was connected to a financed family, and if he owed someone money, there's a lot of threads that we'll have to pull. But I do have to commend law enforcement for holding this case close to the vest, for doing what they needed to do it from an investigative standpoint, and for finding him, doing what they needed as far as keeping information quiet, close, and then following a process that has less taint from the public about, whether this is the individual, whether he was questioned properly. All of those things will roll out later, but I do commend them for what they have done in executing the arrest, the seizure, and moving this homicide investigation forward.
Yes, Sonny, yes, they acted quickly, and thank goodness, because if Nick Reiner did this, if he killed his mom and his dad, then you can never know where he would have gone next or what he would have done next. As you know, if he was on a path of destruction, this could have been deadly for other people. And so, as you said, thank goodness law enforcement acted as quickly as they did, getting to the person they believe is responsible for these killings. Sonny, we thank you for the insights. Again, our team en route there, we're going to have live updates for you throughout the day as soon as they are on the ground.
Okay.
We'll keep you posted as...
Hold up. I have to mute Court TV. I'm keeping an eye out to see if there's going to be a presser. We've been waiting. I think everybody's waiting for that. They're expecting a presser, hopefully sometime soon.
Of Los Angeles and the deaths of Rob and Michelle Reiner. I want to get back
If
to
there is
Stephanie
going to
Elam.
be
What are
a
you
press
learning, Stephanie?
conference, I think most likely they will
Pamela, we
try
have
to
a
do it
big
Their
development
volume is
before
low.
I can tell you
1
that
p.m.
Nick
Eastern,
Reiner, the
most
32-year-old
likely,
son
if
of
they
Rob and
actually
Michelle
gonna do it.
Reiner, has been booked into a Los Angeles
So
jail. That
unfortunately, we're just
happened
playing the
on
waiting
Monday,
game.
happened today after his parents were found dead. Now, what is worth noting here is that it doesn't exactly say what he's charged with, but we do know that his bail has been set at $4 million, according to these jail records that we are seeing here, but still not clear on what has happened here. And family members are continuing to be interviewed as this investigation continues, but obviously this is a very large development here, that there has been an arrest, booking into jail for this case, for the deaths of Rob and Michelle Reiner, and now learning that the person who has been booked into jail is their 32-year-old son.
Yeah, it's an amazing development indeed. I want to bring in our chief media analyst, Brian Stelter, who's joining us right now. Huge development. I must say, Rob Reiner was such a major presence in Hollywood all of these years. But give us your reaction to what the breaking news is.
That's right. And Rob and Michelle Reiner had 3 children, 2 sons and 1 daughter.
This is
They were most
CNN, by
recently
the way,
photographed
y'all.
together, all as a family, on the red carpet for the family's newest movie. Rob and Michelle had both worked on, Rob had directed a sequel to This Is Spinal Tap. So they were out there being photographed in September, all together as a family. But it's going to obviously come up right away that Nick Reiner struggled for many years with drug abuse. He was homeless for a time. And that's something that Rob Reiner spoke about and was public about and was transparent about. In fact, the 2 men worked on a film together about 10 years ago. The film was titled Being Charlie, and it was loosely based on his son Nick's experiences earlier in life. Nick Reiner did not end up getting other screenwriting credits later, but they did come together for that collaboration about a decade ago. And Rob Reiner spoke very eloquently about learning about his son, about learning about Nick's struggles through that filmmaking process. Quoting from the Los Angeles Times back then, Reiner and his wife struggled as their son Nick was addicted to hard drugs.
So thank you to the person that sent me. I got an article. Rob Reiner's son, Nick Reiner, once refused to go back to rehab. I wanted to do it my way. But that was that 2016 interview that he did, and he did acknowledge that. That's not really new news. When we watched that interview in full, I feel like we got some of that. But let me review this article and figure out what I can take from it and see what's new that we don't already know. Again, I'm keeping an eye out to see if we have any updates. And for those, shout out, I don't want to shout out your name, but for those that are messaging me, talking about, that you were close to the situation, I'm really sorry for your loss as well. Because there are people, like I said, at the end of the day, you could say it's a Hollywood family. These are people. These are people just like everybody else, right? Keep in mind, and this is a tragedy, no matter what walk of life you're coming from. So, I'm sorry for your loss as well, for those that are, thank you for the people that are messaging me that are close in proximity to this. And thank you again for the chat. Shout out to the mods. Again, I want to humanize the situation, y'all, because it's like, we're throwing all this stuff, and I hate how it's become so this and that. I don't want that. Let's think about what happened here, okay?
Facts.
And how anybody can go through something like this. Please note that. Actually, I know of somebody in the community who was, somebody in the chat will probably say that they know who I'm talking about. She was somebody in the community who was a mod for various channels. She was killed by her son too, her teenage son, just this year. I never talked about it. It was featured on Law and Crime. So yeah, like this stuff happens. This happens. And that was a
It
teenage
happens,
son who killed
unfortunately.
her mom and her dad. Mom and dad. Boy.
Rotating in and out of rehab facilities like they were shopping malls. The couple wondered if there was an end in sight. So that's a decade ago. That is in the past, but it is relevant context about Nick Reiner, 32 years old, as people are going to be wondering now why he has been taken into custody and why he's been booked on this felony charge. And now, Wolf, we're going to wait for answers from authorities there in Los Angeles.
Yeah, we are waiting for answers. And Stephanie, on that point, what happens next for Nick Reiner? Do we know? And also, can you tell us anything more about him? We learned from Brian, but I know you can expand.
I think there's Chico, just so you know, there's a labeling in the booking, which is leading people to believe that this might have been gang related, just so you're aware. There's some labeling in the booking. We were talking about that. I don't know if you heard me say that, just so you're aware.
Yeah, I think what's also worth noting, right? We learned about this happening, that it happened in the late afternoon
local time here in California yesterday. Looking at the jail booking document, you can see that Nick Reiner was arrested yesterday. That's a new development that we've seen in there, and he was booked into
Yeah,
jail
he did have
today.
a
We did
history
hear from the Los
of
Angeles Police
mental
Department
health
that they had to get a search warrant
and
to further
narcotic
their
issues,
investigation before they could even go
unfortunately.
farther with saying who they thought may be the suspect in the case and what may have been a motive. We were standing out here very early this morning when they took away the police tape, opened up the street, and now shortly thereafter we're getting this booking information from the jail. So just giving a bit of time.
Feedback.
All right.
I think we're losing our connection with Stephanie, but we'll get back to her for sure. Brian Stelter, you're still with us. Talk a little bit more about Rob Reiner's impact on Hollywood. As all of us who grew up watching Rob Reiner, we know he was huge.
And in so many different ways. That's one of the reasons why Rob Reiner was a special figure. It's why some people today are likening him to a mayor, an unofficial mayor of Hollywood. It's because he was not just a writer and actor. He was not just a director and a producer. He was not just a role model to younger filmmakers. He was all of the above. That's why we saw other legends like Larry David hurrying to his home in Brentwood yesterday, wanting to try to be there, wanting to try to be close to the scene. Reiner was larger than life in that way, partly because he worked for so many different decades. Getting his start at a playhouse in Bucks County, Pennsylvania, and then on the Smothers Brothers Comedy Hour on CBS in the late 60s. Those writing credits then turned into acting credits, most famous with All in the Family. And you think about even the name of that sitcom. You think about him playing Archie Bunker's son-in-law. Family and that connection of family is really important through his decades. I mentioned that he had 3 children with Michelle, and that was a love story in and of itself that spanned almost 40 years and helped inspire the ending of When Harry Met Sally, something we're talking about here on the air this morning. So that's just going to intensify the case.
They have police standing in front of the gates of the home. I don't think that necessarily means that they're going to start a press conference, but they're trying to get the media away. So I do wonder, they're still investigating clearly, but it sounds like what I've heard from sources here as well as others that I know, that there might be a presser today for sure. We just don't know what time yet.
Curiosity and the concern about why one of his sons, Nick, has been booked on this felony charge, this unknown felony charge. Unfortunately, we're in a little bit of an information vacuum right now, but we do know a family member was interviewed by police last night, and now we know one of the sons is in custody.
Yeah, and tell us more about the reaction to Reiner's death and his wife's death. And just to mention, you personally spoke with Rob Reiner in the past. I mean, you had a connection to him, but
I was thinking about what it was like to sit down with him, because sometimes you never know what you're going to expect when you're talking to one of these A-listers who's been around forever, who's been out there in the movie-making industry, who could do doing anything, talking to anybody. Sometimes they might be dismissive, but in the case of Rob Reiner, he made everybody feel at ease immediately. He was cracking jokes with the folks there on the set that day, having everybody in stitches. You could tell that he was a natural-born entertainer, and that came, of course, in part from his father, Carl, who was a comedy icon as well. Reiner was married once in the 70s to the late Penny Marshall. Then he met Michelle while working on When Harry Met Sally, and that's why the end of the film changed the way it did, because Rob Reiner was newly in love. And then they had a really great working relationship for decades. I mentioned that film Being Charlie that was loosely based on his son Nick's struggles with homelessness and addiction. But there were films that Michelle and Rob worked on together, including most recently that sequel to Spinal Tap that just came out in September.
Wow.
It was inspired by an interview Reiner did with NPR earlier this year, saying that he wanted to keep telling stories, that even in this AI world, that this corporate Hollywood world, that people are always going to want to connect to great storytelling. And that's what Reiner was able to do, whether through his own production company, through supporting actor roles on sitcoms and movies,
Can you guys
or
hear it?
working with his wife on any number of film productions.
And we also know a little bit more now about Nick Reiner, the son of the Reiners, and some of his past struggles, as you correctly point out, with addiction, which in part inspired the movie Being Charlie, which Nick and his father worked on together, right, Brian?
Yeah, I was struck by this sentence in the LA Times story as we all pieced this together and understand more of the background. It said Nick Reiner did, quote, survive his descent into heroin and homelessness, getting clean. and he and his most famous father decided to deal with their family's troubled past in a most unlikely way by making a movie about it. Rob Reiner talked in interviews, again, this was in 2015, a decade ago, about how he was able to better understand what his son went through. And his son was in his early 20s at the time, Nick Reiner now 32. I mentioned they were photographed together on a red carpet. They were also photographed last year together at an event, at a restaurant opening. So there was a sense of togetherness. We know this family was fully together at some points. There are other photos, though, where you don't see Nick Reiner in the picture, where you see the other son and the daughter with their father. So there's a lot we still don't know yet about the history here, about Nick Reiner in recent years. A lot of people with questions right now, most specifically about why he has been brought into custody.
Yeah, a bit.
You know, it's interesting. Rob Reiner was not only a Hollywood director, but he was also heavily involved in politics. He donated to many Democratic political groups and candidates. And I had a chance, and I remember this vividly, of interviewing him back in 2004, just ahead of the third debate between President George W. Bush and John Kerry. Here's some of what he told me at that time. Listen to this.
The fact that we've 3.8 million people have lost their health insurance, almost 1 million people have lost their jobs, and over 6,000 people are dead or wounded in Iraq. These are great mistakes, and we have a president who's unwilling to admit to any mistakes.
He also advocated for a number of causes, including marriage equality, early childhood education, and fighting big tobacco. Brian, tell us a little bit more about the politics of Rob Reiner.
Yeah, and unfortunately, President Trump is out this morning.
Very true.
Through pretty crass posts about Reiner, suggesting that maybe somehow he died because of his hatred for all things Trump. Hopefully that's not going to get too much attention today, as it really might.
Yeah, I don't care about that. It only gets attention if people talk about it. Literally, not giving attention to that. Let's not make it about that. And that's the problem with people, is they make it about that. No.
The entertainment industry legendary filmmaker Rob Reiner and his wife Michelle were murdered at their Brentwood home.
That's right. Mario Ramirez is live in Brentwood with what we know so far about the police investigation and the details of this story.
I'm checking sources still, guys.
Yeah, that's right. We're just outside the home here on Chadbourne Avenue, and just a short time ago, we did learn that the couple's 32-year-old son, Nick Reiner, is in custody, being held on $4 million bail, as we're waiting for new details from the LAPD here in this Brentwood neighborhood. Now, take a look. Somber moments here as we saw the county coroner's crews removing the two bodies here from the home by, again, LA County Medical Examiner crews after that shocking discovery. Now, we had police, fire crews, and investigators. They were flooding the street here. They eventually cleared the scene after about 12 hours. Now, we can tell you that Rob Reiner, a household name in Hollywood for more than 5 decades, was found inside with his wife, Michelle. Authorities say LA fire paramedics were initially called to the home around 3:30 Sunday afternoon for a medical emergency. And when they arrived, they found the two inside. Both were pronounced dead on the scene. And TMZ reporting that the couple suffered injuries consistent with a knife, also reporting exclusive details, gruesome details, that the couple had their throats slit. We, again, are waiting for confirmation on some of those details from the LAPD, but it's been very emotional out here, I will say, here in the neighborhood. We just saw as a few residents were walking by the home here, by the front gates, hugging, embracing, consoling each other after this shocking news.
Can't
For now,
trust
that's
no
the latest here
damn
in Brentwood.
body
I'm Mario
nowadays.
Ramirez. We'll send it back to you in the studio.
Definitely shocking and tragic, and a lot of people just hearing the news, you know, can't really fathom what's happening here. And friends and family members, of course, of Rob Reiner had so much love for him and all the wonderful movies he helped create.
Yeah, beloved movies. Haley Winslow joins us live from Hollywood now with reaction to the death. Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, this is so awful. And, you know, it's a little bit strange that we're right on the foreground. In the background, you can see the Hollywood sign. Right, you know, we're on the Hollywood Walk of Fame right now in the 6400 block, which is where Carl Reiner's star is. He got it in 1999, and he actually is right next to,
like, we watched this part
his
already.
father's star, Carl Reiner, of course.
Outside of the home. Let's see. Okay, I'm gonna put that on pause. They're still investigating. You got LAPD out there. Their volume is very low, but you can hear reporters there.
About 10 years ago, father
here. There's also a report about the assistant. We'll get into that here in a minute.
About the
They're
assistant.
outside, just making sure media doesn't get too close to the area.
What about the assistant?
Like everybody else.
Did you hear it on the news or?
This is the assistant.
No, I don't know if I can be any assistance or help with anything, with the house, access to anything. Right now, I didn't have enough family members. Yeah, I was trying. Is it possible to just at least let Romy and Jake know that I'm here in case they need anything? Please, my name is Rocco. You can just let them know that I'm around. We have friends in the neighborhood, and I'm just going to be here in case somebody needs anything. Okay. Thank you.
How did you find out about this?
Like everybody else.
Did you
The assistant. This is the assistant.
No, I don't know if I can be any assistance or help with anything, with the house, access to anything. Right now, I didn't have I was trying. Is it possible to just at least let Romy and Jake know that I'm here in case they need anything? Please, my name is Rocco. You can just let them know that I'm around. We have friends in the neighborhood, and I'm just going to be here in case somebody needs anything. Okay. Thank you. Like everybody else.
I'm gonna go here real quick. Hold up. There's not a lot of sound here, but let me see what else. Poor guy. I feel bad for him. He's like, if I can be of assistance, like let people know what's happening. This is just so sad overall. I just don't even. This is sad, man. It's a tragedy. I don't even know. I don't have any words. Just a tragic situation overall. We still don't have.
Happens now, Tom. Investigators are going to continue to build their case. He's being held on suspicion of murder. We're awaiting those formal charges that may come later today or potentially even tomorrow. We also anticipate a coroner's report to be released that could detail the cause of death for both Reiner and his wife. We know a source close to the family initially shared that both of them were stabbed. So that will shed some new insight into this incredibly tragic case here, especially with a member of their own family now behind bars, facing formal charges in the death of both Rob Reiner and his wife, Michelle. Tom.
Morgan, before you go, because you live out there in Los Angeles, tell our viewers, what is the mood like right now? Because he was such a larger-than-life figure in Hollywood, somebody who had done both television and movies that span generations, and now he's lost.
Tom, it's a fact that I think it's tough for people to wrap their heads around because the creations, the works of Rob Reiner touched so many different people in their deepest emotions. He shared that the film that meant the most to him was Stand By Me, that powerful coming-of-age movie with the multiple characters that everyone could see a little bit of themselves in. Here in this Brentwood neighborhood that is very private and very quiet, we've seen a couple.
I'm gonna be here till about 1:30 to see if they do a press conference. If they don't do a press conference, by then, I'll try to come back later. If they do one, but I'll be here till 1:30 East Coast time.
People walking by in front of the gate, just kind of acknowledging the gravity of this tragedy as more and more cameras arrive to document something that, up until 24 hours ago, no one could have conceived, no one could have imagined. And so it is very heavy here today. particularly in light of what we've learned from police within the last hour or so here. Tom?
Yeah, you think about all those movies like you mentioned, Stand By Me, A Few Good Men, When Harry Met Sally, so many classics again. And he did so much for philanthropic causes as well. All right, Morgan, we thank you for that. That concludes this NBC
Okay.
special report. I'm Tom Yamas. We thank you so much for watching. We'll have more on Nightly News tonight.
Okay. We're waiting. Let me see. I'm gonna check one more area.
They're on the Walk of Fame. You can see some flowers here on Rob's Star and some candles. I'm sure this place will be absolutely flooded later on today. Rob, of course, going on to become one of the most successful directors of all time. He was born in the Bronx and moved to LA at 13. He went to Beverly Hills High School and then studied film at UCLA. SAG-AFTRA current president Sean Astin called Reiner one of the most successful and significant figures in the history of film and television. Of course, we all know the classics, When Harry Met Sally, The Princess Bride, and then his first big movie that he directed, Spinal Tap, in the mid-'80s, and then his last film that he just directed was the sequel, so kind of bookends as a director. Then, of course, he went on to do Stand By Me, written by Stephen King, A Few Good Men, and Misery. He gained fame as a kid playing Meathead in All in the Family, and celebrities are just, of course, pouring out their love and prayers to the family. Stephen King writing, I'm horrified and saddened by the death of Rob Reiner and Michelle, wonderful friend, political ally, and brilliant filmmaker. Rest in peace, Rob. You always stood by me. Eric Idle, they've been friends for half a century. He just talked to him last night. He said on X, Rob Reiner was a lovely man. I spoke to him last night.
Okay. Nothing, no update yet, y'all. Let me shout out some people while I have some time to do so here, because I'm going to take a break from looking at stuff here as we're reporting. Let me shout out Tico Tits. Thank you for the 999. Jerry is who? Oh, okay. Well, thank you, Tico. Thank you, Tico Tits, for the super chat. I'm gonna try not to. I don't want the political stuff right now because I really want us to focus on the tragedy. But thank you so much for supporting the channel. I appreciate you. Thank you. Jen, a member for 18 months. I'm sorry, love, that I missed this, y'all. I mean, I was just so focused here. Thank you for being a member for 18 months. Thank you, love. Blue Ridge, Tony, thank you so much for this 1999. This one hits hard. I'm old and I've followed him since All in the Family. Okay. And he made some of my very favorite movies of all time. So tragic. I appreciate your coverage. Thank you so much. Blue Ridge, thank you again, Tony, for always supporting the channel. I really appreciate it. Mar, thank you for this. Breaks my heart. RIP. Absolutely. I think it's just so heartbreaking, the news overall. Foxy, Amazon member for 2 months. These go to 11 on the Spinal Tap. Thank you so much, Foxy, for your membership. It's just like dang, it's just so sad overall. So I didn't know he was behind so many movies. Yeah, I mean that the guy's a legend, you know. I think traditional old Hollywood, as you would call, would be this right here. Yeah, I would say so. Okay, I'm gonna let you guys go because I gotta go tend to baby bunny. If there is a press conference, we'll be back live. So have your notifications
Okay.
on. We're gonna be right on it.
On second thought, I said I was gonna be here till 1:30. I'm actually gonna end this right now. Um, see what else I can find, and I'll try to come back later. With that being said, like, share, subscribe. See y'all again soon. Peace.